Um, okay, so as someone who is practicing focus, how does your how do you cultivate your environment to help you cultivate
Your
focus?
environment should reflect your objectives in life. Your environment should reflect, aid, support, serve your objectives in life. So, whatever your objectives in life are, your environment should contain tools, reflections, images, influence, forces of influence, sources of influence that support and move your body and your brain, your emotions, your psychology, your actions towards the objective. So if we look at our own uh, situation, for example, well, some of the objectives we have are cultivating a community of people who help each other, support each other. We are interested in using kung fu and martial arts as a form of meditation. So, something to do that's good for the body and the brain, in which we can give the body and the brain an objective and then learn to cultivate that same presence, just like I used the examples before.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go out there and kick that bag 50 times, right? Well, that's the thought. Accept the thought, now go and do it and be totally aware and totally focused on it. Not to mention that it does wonders for the brain chemistry. It does wonders for the body in terms of longevity. It also develops great confidence because you learn things like self-defense. You can handle yourself, etc., etc. So just given those two examples with regards to the community, there's wood chopping, there's cooking, there's cleaning, there's fire building, fire making currently in our environment. So all of these jobs and tasks that are present here in our environment, there are tools for the kitchen, there's an area for that. There are tools for the wood chopping, there's an area for that. So the environment reflects our objectives. That's the communal element. With regards to the martial arts, the personal training, there's a bag hanging up. There's a few other little bits of equipment hanging up that you can go over and use. And just by seeing that, I can look out my window right now and I can see that big medicine ball there hanging up, and I can see the bag hanging up. Just by looking at that, identify it, my brain is already beginning to visualize and picture doing kicks on that. So that's going
Mm-hmm.
to aid, obviously, the objective.
Yeah.
It's influencing my brain and my body, and your environment does that to you. And anyway, just take that further and further on with whatever your objectives are, whatever you're wanting to cultivate for your body and your brain. Your environment should reflect that. If your environment is chaotic, cramped, crowded, dirty, full of old useless bits of things that you've gathered over the years, then that's all influencing you.
Mm.
So this is why I was told, if you can find happiness in an empty room, with regards to the lifestyle of a monk, if you can find happiness in an empty room, you're on the path. So basically that meant I lived with no distraction. I lived in an empty room with no distraction for years and years, because all that was in there was my own present experience, current manifestation of psychology, so ego stuff, physical body, and present awareness, and the energy of life, mind, pure mind. So because I wasn't in the room being influenced by other things, I had to become aware of my immediate experience. And so that's how I tuned in very deeply. So, for a monk, maybe you're not so interested in physical worldly attainments and worldly objectives, but you have the objective of realizing powerful meditation and doing powerful meditation, then create an environment that serves that objective, one in which you aren't influenced by much. There aren't many distractions to your senses, or rather like magnetic sources of magnetism for your senses that will draw you in. And so instead you just focus totally on cultivating powerful presence. But it's a really good idea for people in the modern world to learn how to live as well, to learn how to govern yourself via focus in a very specific way, to live a physical life in a very specific way so that you can have relationships, you can have a job, you can have goals and objectives while also cultivating powerful presence by establishing certain boundaries for your focus so that your focus doesn't get sidetracked and distracted too much. it's just a really good way to do it, because then if you do it that way, you don't have to run away, or you don't have to go away to a monastery in the middle of nowhere and isolate yourself with no distraction in monk mode. Although you can do that, you don't have to. As long as you learn how to focus and govern your energy, thought, attention, focus, body properly, then you can achieve your objectives in life and also cultivate the kind of powerful presence that can awaken you to the reality of enlightenment.